Sticking with round one action, and it is Thibault Tricole, arguably the premier Frenchman in this sport, and Jules van Dongen, who at times last year looked not only like the best player from the USA, but like a player who could really do some serious business at the top end of professional darts. Now, that golden spell only really lasted about 3 months or so, maybe a little bit longer. It really did put him in a position to save his professional status and keep hold of his tour card by moving into the top 64 in the world. He couldn't quite convert. He probably needed to win 3 or 4 games at the Players' Championship finals here in Minehead, and then the World Championship at the back end of the year. And it just didn't happen for him. But what he did do was go straight back to Q School and plough through it, just as he'd done when he first got himself on the professional tour. So he's got a 2-year spell now to try and get to that level at a more consistent basis. Because if he hits a spell of form like that at some point this year, he's going to be sitting quite pretty going into his 2nd year of having the tour card this time around, and it shouldn't be as stressful for him.
It shouldn't be, but when people like us who watch the numbers and we watch him play on a regular basis, we now expect that form to come at some point. It's not automatic when you wake up in the morning that you're going to find that purple patch, but he is more prepared for tour life than he was 2 years ago, that's for sure.
Now, I was very relieved to hear that he was going to be giving it a go. Look, he quit a very good job over in the United States to follow his dream of being a professional darts player, and things happened extraordinarily quickly for him. He went from a pub player averaging 50-odd to winning WDF titles and looking really good, and then coasting through Q School, and it all happened within about 2.5 years. It's an extraordinary transformation. And I think we've seen his throw sort of smooth out from a kind of jerky staccato kind of action. Things have improved. He has got better, but he's got to get better again and be more consistent if he's going to make this work.
And one of the benefits, Dan, of not seeing someone play for a period of 2.5 months, and that's how long it's been since I've seen Jules up close, there's definitely a change in his throw here, whether it's conscious or not. That grip and that little twist, that looks a little bit more pronounced than it was at the end of last year.
78.
It's a good spot, actually, the little twist in the hand. I think you might be right, and that is slightly new. And it may sound like it's a minor thing, but it won't be that minor. For this is your routine that you've learned over years. And to change how you grip the dart, which is such a natural action, that is significant. And he takes the opening leg against the darts. It's not a bad one either.
Not bad at all. I'm with you. I think that throw is a lot smoother than it was when he joined the tour. I was always really keen to see what he was capable of when he first went to Q School 2 years ago. But he's definitely evolving as a player, which is something you should do. Whereas Thibault, it feels like he's been around for a long time, bearing that flag of France. Well, his throw's about as smooth as a French jazz trumpeter, which, let's face it, he loves that kind of music, so that was the right thing to say.
Well justified. Well, there's the first max. Goes to Thibault Tricole. Lakeside finalist, of course.
Yeah, came through Q School just like Jules.
58.
But were you surprised that it took him so long to get to the tour?
I still haven't fully formed an opinion on Thibault Tricole as a player. He can have these spells where he's really good. I really enjoyed watching him at the Lakeside. We've seen him play on the Euro Tour. We've seen him do bits. One game at Ali Pali. Beat Mario van der Behade, the man who Jules van Dongen beat in this last year in what was an absolute pig of a game on the stage too, to be honest. Jules won it with a 77 average.
167.
But I don't know how good Thibault can be. I'm kind of interested to find out, and certainly interested to see what impact that has on the game in France, which could host a Euro Tour as early as next year, I'm told.
Oh, no, that's what we should be doing. Should be going to France for darts. That's got so much in the way of possibilities.
Well, I think there's a long way to go.
Would you require 40?
But certainly Thibault, if there's a ranking tournament in France at any point, then Thibault Tricole has certainly played his part. All around the board for Jules van Dongen.
Yeah.
And double 5 is pinned.
So if you're going to have a Euro Tour in France, where would you put it? Because I've got a place I would put it.
Where's La Rochelle?
Oh, La Rochelle. Yeah, they've hosted soft tip tournaments before.
Yeah, a massive one, isn't it?
Even Bunting's won there. I would put it in Alsace, home of Arsene Wenger.
Is he into the darts?
No, it's just a great wine region.
Right, okay.
60.
It's very famous for cider as well.
Le cidre.
But I think what you said about Thibault is very appropriate, because when Jules joined the tour, it took a while for people to form their opinion of how big his ceiling could be. And now we look at Thibault in the same way. How big can he get? Because he's very much an 85 to 92 average player, in my opinion.
60.
Very Christoph Kachuk in my assessment of him. I know he can do that all the time, but how high can he go in a game? Can he get to that 110? We know that Jules can now.
Well, that's it. The thing that's exciting about Van Dongen is we've seen him, not just in one-off games, a few of them on the CDC, the American circuit. He's thrown some big averages. He has thrown 110 average in PDC ranked events. And then there was that, as I say, golden spell last year where he was constantly averaging high 90s. Really competitive stuff. This could still be done. Oh, double 18. Oh, very nicely done, Thibault Tricole. Looked like it was a bit of a mess, but got himself out of it and got his first leg on the board. Yeah, we've not seen Thibault hit the heights that Van Dongen has hit at his best, which is why you think, well, we don't know what these two could do over the next few years. But Jules has given more clues as to it could be really good. Thibault might end up being more significant in terms of being the leading light for his country in what could potentially be a growth area for darts. Obviously, there's big efforts made to grow the game in the USA, but there are other players doing their bit as well. We'd see Leonard Gates here this weekend, for example.
140.
Yeah, sometimes you need people to bulldoze that wall down to allow the opportunity for better players in the future. You think about the United States, they've had incredible players for the last 50 years. But now do they have that one world-class superstar that takes it towards the top 16? Not yet. Who's to say that Tricole could be the best player that France ever has, but he may just be the player that puts it on the map to allow other people to find out who the best player that France has got.
We wouldn't have Michael van Gerwen if it wasn't for Raymond van Barneveld.
We wouldn't have Jules van Dongen if it wasn't for Paul Lim in 1990, or even Nicky Verashkel back in the 1970s.
Well, that is not the shot he was after. We talked about the Shanghai on the 19s for the 114. The bonus about going that route is slip into the 7. You've still got a shot.
TV require 24.
We've got double 18 in the previous leg. Same height. Go at the other side. That'll do. Another tight game coming in, and the winner of this one will take on Bradley Brooks in the next round.
Game on.
Who found his way through his first round match in the last 20 minutes. And Thibault's second visit to Minehead in this tournament. Lost to James Richardson last year by 6 legs to 4 in a very competitive match, averaged over 90, but Richardson was just a little too good on that occasion.
How's his son got on today? Still playing against Dowell Pilgrim, is he, or has that come to an end? Maximum for Thibault.
6-5 Richardson, and Pilgrim has lost with a 94.68 average. Another game that Pilgrim has lost with a decent set of numbers.
Yeah, Mr. P, very, very good player. Serious darts player is Double Pilgrim, but my word, he does do a line in glorious defeats. He's not quite Ross Smith. One of my tips for the title this weekend, Ross Smith. I'm tipping him for everything because I don't see how he can keep playing amazingly and losing all the time. But he does, somehow.
That good start for Van Dongen could be 45. Undone in as little as the next 6 darts thrown on this stage. They're both very similar, average-wise, for the year so far in Players' Championships. 85 to 87 for the two of them. That's going to have to improve over the next year if they're going to find their way to this venue in November for the Players' Championship Finals. For me, you've got to be averaging between 91 and 92 minimum to be getting into the top 64.
54. Georgia required 96.
Yeah, we can talk about how great an achievement it is to get to Q School and come through it. Well, he went double-double and it didn't work.
40.
But ultimately,
62.
Q School is the easy bit. Once you're on the tour, that's the real tough stuff. Double 16 for the lead.
.46. Georgia require 56.
That was almost painful to watch from Thibault. This would be more painful, especially after just getting the single.
16.
Goes further away on the double.
Thibault require 16.
Sort of admire the fact he gave it a chance. He wasn't short on that, but he was some way off. And double 8 is found. It's 3 legs on the spin for Thibault Tricole. And the Frenchman, who enjoyed that excellent run at the World Cup alongside Jacques Labre last year, before getting absolutely annihilated by Scotland. He's in the lead for the first time in this game.
I've got a result for you that's a little bit of a surprise to a lot of people. Lucas Venig has lost on board 4 by 6 legs to 4 to Tom Lonsdale. He's from just down the road.
96.
He won the qualifier in Coventry, and he's a very good player. And he's put in almost a 94 average in beating Lucas Venig. Watch out for Tom Lonsdale today.
108.
Watch out for Thibault Tricole right now, because that's the third maximum of this match. They have all come from the Frenchman. And Jules Van Dongen, who started pretty brightly, certainly in the ascendancy, has just not been able to match Thibault over the last few legs.
100.
If you look at Tricole's career, he's got this knack of staying in and winning games like this. Bad start,
70.
but has this ability to trudge his way through the mud if you don't put him away.
Oh, is he going for it? He is going for it.
139.
That's a bit like Thierry Henry getting the ball at halfway and said, oh, I'll have a crack.
And ultimately, he's made it more difficult. He has lessened his chances of winning this leg by going for that bullseye. Double 8. Double 4.
Games on the
And there it is. Double 4 is found by Thibault Tricole. 4 legs on the spin. Another one against the darts. And the Frenchman's all over the Dutch Dragon.
With the French touch. And it's a somewhat ruthless touch at the minute. Because he's got himself a 2-leg cushion, and he's striking me as a player who does not want to let that go.
57.
50% on the doubles.
60.
That's the first dart Van Dongen wants. And he makes use of it. That's his first maximum.
It makes such a difference to some players when they get that first dart in the prime spot, because it, with that upright angle of attack and that big moulded flight there, he's not going for the 60 anymore. He's going to hit the flight to try and nestle it in, just like this.
140.
Notice how that third one went over the top. That's because he wasn't going for the 60.
It was a bit like when he was going for tops earlier on, wasn't he? He felt the marker was there. I just need to hit the flights. It's a bigger target, and it will just slide down the barrel into the target area.
That's the thought process behind someone like Dimitri Vandenberg going to the right and using the stem as well as a backboard. But that's a wonderful out from Van Dongen. And he needed something like that to feel like he's back in the match.
Game on.
Well, that is a 12-dart leg from Jules Van Dongen. It's the best we've seen in this match, and it's a sign that he's back in this game, because, to be honest, for the last 4 legs, he's not offered a great deal.
96.
We're going to get another United States dart player on the hockey after this, as Danny Lowby takes on Nathan Rafferty. Could be a really good afternoon
137.
for the United States. Leonard Gates is here as well. And so is the world senior champion John Henderson.
Marvellous news.
58.
Hendo qualifying via the Challenge Tour, very nearly getting his tour card by the Challenge Tour, but denied in cruel circumstances by Owen Bates,
46.
new tour card holder this year. Exciting talent as well.
But if Hendo had got his card, he wouldn't have won that title. So, just goes to show, with heartbreak comes opportunity. And John's taken full advantage of that. Just imagine if he was to have a run this afternoon, nobody would begrudge him that.
Enduringly popular. Enduringly good as well.
He's got a slight thorn on his side this afternoon. He's got to play Kevin Burness.
140.
Vanessa, another former tour card holder, is here as one of the Riley's qualifiers. We have seen that over. You still get Riley's qualifiers, players we've never heard of. You know, there's a scope for the Rob Cross story to happen again, but a lot of them are established or former names who've booked their place in this tournament by those amateur qualifiers.
51. TV 158.
One of them, you were talking to me this morning about Joe Croft. Hang on a minute. Oh, that would have been a massive moment in this match. About as massive as a certain set of sideburns we were talking about this morning.
Yes, Joe Croft, the grandson of Ollie Croft, video legend.
Games on the angle.
That is 4 apiece, and we have a game on here. Jules Van Dongen, much the better player in the opening 2 legs, went missing for the next 4, but he's back in this game. Last 2 legs, won in fewer than 30 darts from JVD. Looking more likely now. Still needs to find a breaker throw.
140.
One of the Riley's qualifiers who was in a very good position in his game, Harry Gregory, who won the qualifier in Liverpool, has eventually lost to a new tour card holder in Rhys Griffin of Wales. Someone who
60.
is very much part of the Ashton family, isn't he?
Yes, I believe so.
100.
So Ashton, who put in a heck of a display at the seniors recently. And indeed, was it not here where she beat Aaron Beanie? Well, in this tournament, 6-0 with 100 average. First one with 100 average on TV.
That's right. At this stage. That was 2021, wasn't it, when James Wade won? Is that right, or was it on
Milton
the
Keynes.
main stage?
I think it was in Milton Keynes, 2021, James Wade, and a first major final for a little someone called Luke Humphreys.
96. TV require 120.
Now then, important little passage here. 1 treble combo finishes facing the pair of them. Thibault gets a shot. Double top the target. Double top missed. Van Dongen, similar equation.
108.
My word, that dart must have looked good in the air. How good's dart 2? Not good enough. And Thibault's darts land very flat.
TV require
So if he's going to miss this, he has to miss it high and right.
Games on the night.
Just don't miss.
Thibault Tricole.
He has 2 cracks now to get himself into the next round, where Bradley Brooks awaits. This is one of those tournaments, Dan, where you have to map out the possibilities. You can speak to many players if you want, oh yeah, I'm just focused on this one game at a time. No, you're not. Every player who was here, all 158 of them, will be saying, if I win this game, where do I have to go? Is it main stage? Is it board 8? You have to map out what you have to do. It's 3 different rooms.
Are you saying this for general advice or specifically to Cameron Menzies?
Both. Cameron's only got 1 game this afternoon, luckily, and it's the last one on this board.
He could still miss it.
I was talking about the UK Open recently with a person I met, and they were a good friend of Mark Jones. Remember Mark from the West Midlands?
Yep.
He missed his call time at Bolton because he was stuck in traffic on the M6.
Well, that's more understandable.
95.
Travelling all the way down to Minehead in the back end of Beyond, being in the actual venue and still not turning up to your game on time and getting timed out. Mr. Menzies.
140.
Now then, Van Dongen with a ton 40. Are we going to have another game go the distance, just as we saw in the Connor Scott-Wesley Plaisier game that kicked things off on stage 2? Looks like it from here.
120.
I'm going to use that word that John Part doesn't like. It should go the distance. What John would rather say is, it could. Because if Van Dongen hits double 10, it's going to be 6-5 either way.
100. Jules require 20.
Thibault spitting French furies at himself as Van Dongen pins the double 10 to take us all the way. Tricole has the darts. Last leg decider for the right to face Bradley Brooks in round 2. This gets you into the money, by the way. No money in round 1 if you lose, but you get £1,000 in ranking money if you reach the second round.
You don't want to leave Minehead with nothing.
Well, particularly for Jules Van Dongen, who's flown over from the States for it.
140.
I've got immense respect for any of the international players who spend so much time travelling, so much time and money travelling to do this. But for the likes of Van Dongen or Christian Perez, for example, it is an astonishing commitment.
Just do what Danny Lauby did and just relocate to the UK.
140.
See how that works out for him. But this leg is working out all right for Van Dongen. Back-to-back ton 40s. But here comes Tricole.
125.
Almost painful, that third dart. But he knew as soon as he delivered it, it was going low and left. He needs a mistake from the Dutch Dragon, and there was no mistake in that one. He leaves 121 to win what's been a fascinating match.
He took out a 1-2-4 for a 12-darter earlier on in this game. That is what sparked the fight back for Jules Van Dongen, but he's going to have to pretty much repeat the trick. It's still on, treble 17. He cannot get it, and Tricole gets matched darts.
He really has stuck to his task brilliantly here. He only has one more job to do. Double 18. Double 9.
27.
My word. They were edgy.
Will he be punished? Great dart, double 8. Double 4. And Jules Van Dongen has also missed match darts, head in hands. Tricole missed 3, Van Dongen's missed 2. Tricole will only get maximum 2 more here.
Good single. Can he hit 4s?
Shot.
He does what Jules could not, and he wins a very Thibault Tricole encounter by 6 legs to 5. It's going to be ranking money for Thibault. That look tells you everything, but don't get too relaxed, Thibault. You've still got more to do this afternoon, and it will start when you play Bradley Brooks in round number 2 on the outer boards. Stay here for Lauby against Rafferty, which is coming up next.